This is your 28storms.com cyclone update for the 4th of November. The latest public U.S. Joint Typhoon Warning Center outlook shows that there are no suspect areas in the western Pacific, and that includes much of the southern Pacific. And the only system worth really monitoring here, at least over the next 24 hours, is the remnants of Tropical Cyclone 3A, located right along the coast of Yemen. The latest visible satellite animation over Australia shows a fairly tranquil weather pattern. It does look as though the cold front has been able to push into the southwest corner of the country, and the mid-level disturbance that generated some shower activity over Queensland and the Northern Territory is continuing to push a little bit more toward the southeast, and we can especially see that a little bit more on the latest infrared and especially the water vapor, as we can see down here. And we just continue to see a lot of mid to upper level systems crossing the country, and this does not bode well in terms of the upper level shear environment for tropical cyclogenesis in the tropical regions. The latest SIMS wind shear chart continues to indicate just how hostile the upper level winds are over here across much of the southern Pacific. So although the calendar does indicate that it's cyclone season, that does not necessarily mean that the upper level environment is ready to cooperate just yet. The enhancing phase of the Madden-Julian oscillation is located over this portion of the globe. However, it is in such a weakened state that it's really not going to enhance the convection over much of Australia or surrounding regions all that much. We can see that fairly clearly here on the latest MJO model guidance, and whenever it begins to enter this inner circle, that is a good indication that the MJO is not going to be a major factor in the global weather pattern. The latest 7-day forecast from the 18Z run of the GFS model is showing a fairly quiet picture here in terms of any potential for tropical development. Furthermore, the 12Z run of the ECMWF model is also showing no organizing tropical disturbances and nothing more than several mid-latitude systems crossing much of the southern hemisphere. Now, as we shift our attention into the Arabian Sea and surrounding waters of the Indian Ocean, we still see the remnants of Tropical Cyclone 3A swirling about here over the coast of Yemen, and ordinarily you would not think of a minimal tropical cyclone causing too much in the way of havoc along coastal communities, but you must also keep in mind that much of this area is not accustomed to receiving significant rainfall, and it is sad to have to report that 6 people have lost their lives as a result of flash flooding in the desert-like terrain. And that is still going to be a problem here over the next 24 to 48 hours. The system is located just enough along the coastal waters that it's still supplying itself with some moisture, and that is the main reason why the system has not fully dissipated. But over the next day or two, the system should finally begin to wind itself down. Now, over into the southern half of the Arabian Sea, we have yet another broad area of low pressure. You can see it here off the western tip of India, and both the GFS and ECMWF models are hinting at the possibility that this low may deepen or strengthen ever so slightly as it continues to move on off toward the northwest. The latest water vapor imagery indicates that the upper level environment is marginally favorable with some upper level ridging over the open waters, but off toward the northwest we do see a little bit of an increase in mid-level troughing over the Middle East. This is the 18Z run sea level pressure forecast from the GFS model, and over the next 24 and especially 48 hours, this low is really not doing a whole lot, but if we continue to advance this into the medium range, we definitely see a little bit more convection and organization forecast by the model, and even if the system were not to develop into a minimal tropical cyclone, it does look as though it will increase the threat of rainfall, especially along the lower half of Pakistan as we go into days 5 through 7. The following is the 12Z ECMWF 500 millibar pattern forecast, and this is starting off at 48 hours, and there are 2 key things I would like for you to notice. First off, as we go into 72 hours, notice that the trough over the Middle East is continuing to deepen, so therefore any system that were to form in the Arabian Sea is likely going to recurve a little bit more toward the north, and more than likely end up with some remnant moisture over Pakistan as alluded to just a moment ago. And then by 96 and 120 hours, so this is getting into day 5. Much like the GFS, the ECMWF is showing some signs of organization. Now, it's relatively unlikely that this system would maintain itself as a minimal tropical cyclone all the way up until landfall if it were to develop, and this is because of 2 reasons. As this trough begins to come down toward the south, the odds of southwest vertical wind shear increasing over the Arabian Sea is fairly likely, and you will also more than likely see some dry air intrusion beginning to exit out of the Arabian Peninsula. But regardless, we will still monitor the situation for the potential for some possible heavy rainfall as this low pressure area begins to work its way closer to the coast. So that sums up your tropical weather cyclone update for this Friday. Please check back again sometime tomorrow for another video update.